have notes. Fat lot of good they're doing me. I started this whole process quite a while ago, but I interrupt myself or I get interrupted by others. It's okay. It's okay. I think I need to slow down and I need to hit all the points in my notes and I need to show you everything that I've got on this desk here because it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. But today is Saturday, March 14th, 2026. My name is Audrey Marine. This is a channel all about cross stitch and you are very welcome. This is episode 41 and I have not recorded a regular Flosstube episode for a little over a month. So I have plenty to show you. I did, however, post a few other videos since that previous Flosstube episode. And the one I posted last week, all about needlework tools, was received so well. There were so many of you that stopped to leave a comment and offer your own suggestions of needlework tools that you like to use while stitching, and I really appreciate that. But I'm just glad so many of you stopped and watched that video. It seemed like it was helpful to many cross stitchers in this community, which is wonderful. So I want to say thank you for making that video a success. I have been compiling a list of your suggestions that I hope to go over in a future video. I'm not going to do that now, but on another needlework tool specific video, I think I will go over viewer suggestions. I also want to say thank you because I have hit 7,000 subscribers, which is really exciting. I have been on YouTube making these videos about cross stitch for almost 3 years now. And so I think 7,000 subscribers is pretty darn good, I'm so glad that I'm able to connect with so many of you in this way. And I have made friends through Flosstube. It's been wonderful. And just to know that this content that I am putting out is well received and appreciated by such a large number, it's very satisfying. It's very rewarding. So thank you so much. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to start with my finishes. They're both Animal Crackers by Stacy Nash. I'm sure you're very familiar with the Animal Cracker line at this point. The first one I will share with you is Sugar the Skunk. This is a release. It's a market release now, actually, from Stacy Nash, but I purchased the PDF at the Jingle Ball, which is an online cross-stitching needlework event hosted by Lindy Stitches in early December. So I purchased the PDF at that time, started it in mid-December, and finished it just a few weeks ago, I think. But super cute, very big though. I mean, this is on 40 count and this is how big it is. So Sugar is definitely the largest animal cracker that I have completed to date. Super cute though. I did a full Roxy Floss Co. conversion, and instead of a black and white skunk, I have kind of a grayish purple skunk. And then instead of a green sweater with a Christmas or winter themed design on it, I chose Aquarium, which is a speckled one-of-a-kind floss, and I really like how that turned out. Super cute. And while I was very sure that I was not going to give away any more finished animal crackers, I think I am going to have this one finished and give it to my nephew for his first birthday, which will be coming up in August. So, very cute. Okay, my other animal cracker, so cute, so cute. I'm calling this one Gertie. The pattern is actually Henny Penny from Stacy Nash. And she's so cute. She's so cute. I know that this was an exclusive to some event last year or the year before. And I didn't know when it was going to be released by Stacy Nash. So when I saw it on a D-Stash group on Facebook, I hopped on it and I got it for just $12 plus shipping. So not bad at all. But of course, like the week after I bought it, it was released by Stacy. But so if you like this, you can get this. That's the moral of that story. And several people are changing the apron to, just personalize it. Christy Crosshutch Quilts, she actually stitched the entire chicken just feathers, and then her friend made an actual little apron to go on the chicken, and that is very cute. But I wanted to stitch the whole thing. I didn't want to deal with hand sewing a small little apron, as cute as I thought that was. So I stitched this, and I imagine Gertie here had some kind of worn out quilts that she salvaged and put together to make this funky little apron. And the really fun part was that not only did I change up the colors for the feathers, but I used a ton of different colors for the apron. So I think all together, chicken colors and apron colors, I think I ended up using something like 30 colors for this piece. I list all of the colors that I used on a post that I put up on Instagram. So you can head to my Instagram at @StitchStitchBead. You will see a photo of this finished chicken, and within the caption you'll find all the information that you need if you want to use the same colors that I did. Certainly the colors that I used for the feathers of the chicken here, I think you can purchase all of those. I think those are in the regular catalog from Roxy Floss, but a lot of the colors that I used in the apron here are from the One of a Kind Floss Club. But if you're in that club, then you'll have the same colors. Another thing that I did was incorporate a lot of different specialty stitches into the apron. So in addition to cross stitch over 2, I used the running stitch, satin stitch, feather stitch, road stitch, Algerian eyelets, rice stitch, bullion knots, and French knots. And it was really fun to just put things in as I wanted to put them in. It was really fun. Fun and funky chicken. And then I stitched this on a 40 count. I have so far stitched all of my animal crackers on 40 count. This is a straw colored unique linen from Tabby Cat. I got it in a pack of random colors at an event that I attended last fall. But those were really fun. I'll say that when I was nearing the end of the skunk, I was really ready to be done. But for Henny Penny, the chicken that I call Gertie, I stitched the entire chicken part first, and then I got to the apron, and that was really fun. Like, I almost didn't want it to be done, but then you want to see the whole completed thing, so you do want it done. It was a really enjoyable project to work on. And I have more animal crackers in my future. Yeah. Let's get to new starts though. I started one of the charts out of the latest red box from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. This is not my favorite, it's my second favorite. My favorite is Elizabeth Parks. And actually, if you have watched my unboxing video, which I will link below, you'll see very clearly that Elizabeth Parks is my favorite. But Odile François is my second favorite. It's just gorgeous. It's a beautiful Belgian sampler. I love the colors, the motifs, the bands, pretty alphabets, really nice. And I started this with my friend Jem, who is Stitch and Jem, who I will talk a little bit more about later when we get to market stuff. And our friend Jenny, who is at stitchy.girl on Instagram, and then some other friends as well. And we all have a group chat on Instagram going to talk about our progress on Odile here, as well as other hats projects that we have going. This bright red up here, that's $7.79. And in working with that, I realized that I would really like to stitch a red sampler in $7.79. It is the brightest cherry red and just gorgeous. I'm stitching this on 46 count Ashley Down by Tabby Cat Linen. And I have an entire, this is about what will be left after I finish Odile. So she'll take up just about this much of the fabric. So I'll have a nice amount left. But I tend not to trim my fabric until I have 3 corners in, so that I don't make a mistake and accidentally cut it smaller than it should be. And on the subject of these boxes, if you missed out on getting this box, although there were still some in stock on the Hats website just a few days ago, so I would check there first, maybe send an email to Nicola, maybe she's got one in reserve. But please, if you are interested in the entire box or just 1 or 2 charts out of it, please join some de-stash groups on Facebook because I am seeing these posted with some regularity. So maybe you weren't able to purchase the entire box, but you're looking to just get one of the charts. I think you might have some luck there. You can always put up an in search of post, you know, share a picture of it if you can and say, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to buy it or borrow it, whichever is your preference. And hopefully somebody will be able to help you out. I don't know what chart I'm going to start next from that box. I have no idea. Elizabeth Parks is my favorite, but that's not necessarily going to be the one that I start next. I'm not really sure about what fabric I want to use, whereas there are a couple others that, while they're not at the top of my list, I know exactly what fabric I want to use, and so I feel like I could kit those up and get going on them right away. So who knows what I will start next. But I know that there are some people who have purchased the box who may be happy overall, but know that they're not going to stitch absolutely everything of it. So maybe they're willing to let a couple pieces go. Another piece that I started is Amelia Brown 1885. One day I wanted a new start and I wanted it to be not huge. So I pulled this out. This is 126 by 171. That's the stitch count. I know I talked about this on a video probably about a year ago because I remember I was talking about how I didn't like how violently bright the red and green were, the green especially. And I remember talking to Contented Needleworker Kim about this, and she said, well, I like the colors. And I said, no, I'm going to change them. Well, I started this and I didn't change the colors at all. And I'm glad that I stuck with the called for just to make it easier on me, honestly. But also because in actuality, while the green is lime, the red is not bright. It's 109, and that is a deeper wine colored red. It's very pretty and it kind of tones down the green. I am stitching this on 46 count Dolly Madison by Needle and Flax. Now you can see that I've got the entire top section done, and so I could trim my fabric, but I'm actually going to go ahead and leave this as it is, and I will trim the fabric when I'm done with the entire thing because I think I can get away with a smaller margin on this side, which would allow me more leftover, which would be enough for a small sampler. I think this color, this Dolly Madison color, would be perfect for a couple of the samplers in the latest red box. This sampler, it incorporates some specialty stitches. You can see that large section of letters there. Those are all done in Algerian eyelets. So fun. I love stitching eyelets. I did that in one day because I loved it so much. It was so fun. It also incorporates herringbone stitch and feather stitch. So I will be able to use this in demo videos on herringbone stitches and feather stitches. So you can look for those in the coming weeks. The next Stitch With Me video that I'm going to record is going to be all about satin stitches. I am going to use Margaret Anderson here to demo that. I used this chart already to demonstrate queen stitches. The border here is completely done in queen stitches. I talked about this on the queen stitch video, but this fabric is, I think it originally was a 40 count, but in counting it out, I realized that it's really more like a 42 count now. The queen stitches done in 103s look really good and are very nicely defined on this fabric. But stitching with 103s on this is not necessarily my preference. I will stitch all the cross stitch over 2 with 103s, and I will finish the queen stitches with the 103s. I think they look really good. But in stitching the satin stitches on Margaret Anderson here, I decided that I wanted to use soie d'Alger. So I went ahead and ordered the 3 soie d'Alger that I would need for the top section of satin stitches. Satin stitches appear a few different places in this chart, but I didn't want to get ahead of myself and order flosses that I didn't really need right away. So I just got those 3 that appear up here in this section. So you can look for a satin stitch video next Saturday. My last new start that I have to share is another hats This is a chart that came out of the first red box from a few years ago, the Letters from Europe box. This is Sophie Caine. I did not purchase that box, but I was able to get a few charts off of Etsy. Someone was selling some of their stash, and then my friend Leslie gave me a few more charts from that box. So I'm pretty well set on the Letters from Europe box. So Sophie Caine. The reason I started this was because I wanted to start a Bristol and told myself, no, don't start a Bristol, you've already got one going. So I started a different red sampler. This is still sizable, but it's not going to be nearly as stitch heavy as even the smallest Bristol. This is 267 by 189, and you can see that it's full, but it's not overly dense. And it takes just two colors, a red, and then there's a tiny little bit of black down here in this band. The called for red is 523, but honestly, I'm kind of tired of 523, so I chose 107. The chart says that on 40 count or higher, you're going to need 2 spools of 100.3. So I went through my stash and found something that I had 2 or more spools of, and 107 was a good choice. And I liked how it looked on this bee's knees. This is 46 count bee's knees from Seraphim. So I like the combination. So that has been fun, and I only worked on it for a couple days and got that much done. I know that as I get lower into the sampler, it's going to be more stitch heavy, but it's nice to get what feels like a good start on something. All right, now we are getting into whips. So let me show you the big one right here in front of me. This is Jane Wood from Maximum Cross Stitch. And if you're not following Ellen, Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, you need to follow her on YouTube. She just posted a video a couple weeks ago, and it was the first video that she had put out in quite a while. And it was just fun to see her. You know, I think she was worried that she would only have Maximum Cross Stitch stuff to show, which would be great in itself. But she said she wanted to be able to show some other stitching as well. And she had a good amount to show. She did have information on some of her releases as well. So if you're just interested in knowing what might be coming or what has come out recently, I would give her a follow. I will link her channel below. But I purchased this chart and the called for Roxy Floss from Evertote. That's Evertote.ca. They are the exclusive seller of Roxy Floss Co. threads and linen. And I'm stitching this on 40 count Thornfield from Needle and Flax, and I am so excited because I was able to trim my fabric. It's still big, but I was able to trim it. So I pulled this out, worked on this for several days. I was able to bring the border across the top and get all the way to the corner. I filled in a couple flowers on the top border, and then I started the cartouche. I got the bones of the cartouche filled in. You can see that kind of limey green, and there are little white crosses that surround it, go all the way around. I haven't finished all of those, but at least I got some of that cartouche. You know, I got the cartouche outlined, I should say. And then I started the over one verse. I was concerned that the verse was going to be difficult to stitch using cottons, but on 40 count, it's not so bad. The letters are full. They're really full, but you can still make out all of the letters. You don't lose definition on anything, and it wasn't difficult. It was still enjoyable to stitch. I have stitched with 103s over one on 45 count, and that is a bear. And I didn't want the same feeling with this. So I'm happy to report that all went well, and I'm happy with the progress that I've made. If you want to see more and different progress on this, I would check out Carmen's YouTube channel. She is Cardamom Pins here on YouTube and on Instagram. She finished the bottom border, the lawn with the animals, and the house. And I believe she said that all that comprises about 45% of the total stitches. So this is almost half of all your stitches right there. And of course, since doing that, she's moving up one side. She's gotten a lot done in the last few days, and it's just gorgeous. I don't remember what fabric she's using, so I'd say go ahead and give her a follow, check her out. She posted a video on YouTube recently as well, after quite a hiatus. Oh, what else do we have? Okay, next one up. another large piece of fabric. This is Tong Uffindell. I started this Valentine's Day of 2025 with my friend Stitch and Gem. The idea was that we were going to stitch 3 border flowers and a small section of the interior every month. And I kept up with that for about 3 months. And that's okay, because we got a lot of other stuff done last year. I would say 2025 was a stitching success for me. I'm holding this up here if you would like to screenshot this, or what I would tell you is that all I did was I photocopied the front of this, black and white, and then took a highlighter, highlighted 3 of the border flowers, and then I highlighted the inside, the motifs, the verse, you know, kind of broke it up in what I thought was a logical way. Whatever. So I did pull this out, and I am so delighted to report that I was able to bring the border all the way down. I stitched all of this in just a couple days. So I added 3 border flowers, which is like 1 month's work on the border, and continued it a little bit more so that I could get to the very bottom of that so that I could trim the fabric. And after working with so much fabric hanging off the bottom here, this feels like a terribly small margin, but it's not. It's 3 inches. I've measured it a lot because it feels too small, but it's not. This is an older chart from Hands Across the Sea, and the booklet only provides you with DMC and Soie d'Alger colors. But now you can go onto the Hats website and find a 103 conversion. So if you're interested in stitching this but don't want to use DMC, don't want to use Soie d'Alger, and you don't want to do the work to convert it to 103s, it's all available on the website. Now, there are a few motifs in this that are done over 1. And what I did was I created a list of swatchfine to use for those over 1 motifs. On the left there, you'll see the symbol, the called for symbol. I'm pretty sure I found all of the over 1 stitches within this. Of course, this is subject to change. But you'll see the symbols on the left, and then the middle column there is the number of the swatchfine that I chose. The top is just creme, it's just cream. And then if it has a check mark there on the right, that means that the swatchfine that I chose is an exact match for the called for 100.3. There are fewer swatchfine than there are 100.3s. So if there is a swatchfine color, there is a 103 match to it, but just because there's a 103, there isn't necessarily a swatchfine match to that. So I did what I could. If it's got a perfect match, great. If it doesn't, no one will care. No one will care. And Tong actually has a sister sampler, Isabella Uffindell, and I have started that one as well on the same fabric with 103s as well. Those are not getting finished anytime soon. But what might get finished sometime soon is Mary Wigglesworth. Oh, so pretty. This is stitched on 46 count Thornfield, just like Jane would, by Needle and Flax. And I want to say thank you. Last time I showed this, I was missing, I think, this greenery right here, that little wing sort of thing right there. And while I am very careful before I send things to the framer, I spend minutes looking over a piece to make sure it is complete to my eye before sending that off to the framer. But I'm happy, very thankful to the 2 people that sent me messages saying, hey, I think you're missing something up there, because better to catch it early rather than later. I can't tell you how paranoid I am. I think at some point I'm going to be walking around my house and stop to admire a piece that I've stitched and go, wait a minute, what the? And realize that I missed something. It will happen. Inevitably it will happen, but hopefully not on Mary Wigglesworth. So I did go ahead and finish that up there. So thank you to my eagle-eyed viewers. I finished this band along here under the alphabet, also finished the alphabet, added in a few berries on the side, and I stitched half of the verse. And I think just stitching half of the verse makes it feel so much farther along. And that didn't take long at all. I think I stitched those 3 lines in 8A. This is the full chart. Grace Paisley Stitcher has finished this, and it's gorgeous. And Jules Darling, Julie, here on YouTube and Instagram, I will link her latest video because she showed her finish of this, her framed finish of this. It is on the most perfect piece of creme brulee linen from Tabby Cat. She used the silks, I think you must have, Julie. It's beautiful. And the frame that she selected for this is, to my eye, similar to a frame that I have here in this room, and is not something that I would have necessarily considered for Mary Wigglesworth, but after seeing Julie's frame finish, I'm like, oh, I should just ask my framer if she still has that molding, you know, when I get this done. I would like to get this done this spring. It's totally doable because I did most of this within just a few weeks and just recently pulled it back out and put a few more days into it. But I just love this one. It's those colors up at the top. That's what it is. The bright red, the pinks, the soft blue, and then like that cobalt. So pretty. And it still says Mary Wiggle, which I think is so funny. I need to just finish her name. That's what I need to do. I need to finish her name. Next one up, Elizabeth Grice, 1795. There we go. You can see it without a glare. Fox and Rabbit. This was a piece that we got at Sampler Symposium this January at the Attic. And this was my favorite chart from that event. I love it. I love it. So I didn't get a huge amount of progress. You know, didn't put a ton more work into this since you guys have seen it, but I finished the top border and I finished that alphabet. It's hard for you to see the alphabet, I know. It's in a very light blue, and I'm using 46 count light hazelnut from XG Design. But I love how that light blue looks on it. I know it's hard to see from far away, but in person it's beautiful. And I love the border. The border is really fun to stitch. It is. This has been fun to work on. So I think when I pick this up next, I will, what will I do? Maybe stitch the other butterfly. So I have this done. I would actually like to start this and kind of get into the basket. But then I also think maybe I need to save the basket for last. I need to eat my vegetables. It's so pretty. And it's not overly large, like some of these samplers. Like the next one I'll show you. So this, because it was a retreat piece, is not widely available, but you should be able to look for it maybe at next year's market. I would expect that they would release it at that time because it will have been more than 12 months since the event. All right. Okay, and I think this is the last whip I have to show you, and then we can get into market haul and plans and other stuff. This is Maria Wales Newson, 1838. This is available on the Hats website or from your local needlework shop. You may be able to get it from them. Oh, the design area, talking of big samplers, is 295 by 413. This is being run as a stitch along by Judy Hall on the Friends of Hands Across the Sea Samplers Facebook group. I have finished the January section and the March section. Nope, January section and February section. February comes after January. Did you know that? I have not even started the March section. Yeah. But last time I showed this, I didn't have these two motifs or those two little motifs. So it was kind of looking like that. So I just had to add those in, take the picture, post it on the group, call it a day. Yeah, so all of this is what I need to do on the other side. That's about a week's worth of stitching. That's a lot. That is a lot. Yeah, and I'm not in love with this one. I talked about this one on the last episode. I'll be happy to have it done, and I would like to keep up with the stitch along, so I am going to do that as long as I'm willing to do that. You know, I figured 2 months in, once I get March done, I keep talking to Jordan, Tattooed Stitcher, about this. We both feel if we can just get through March, the rest of it will be so much easier. Because January, February, March, huge sections. But then like April is like this, half of this. So, you know, if this takes a week, then this should take 3 or 4 days. If that, honestly. It should be so much easier. But stitching this on 46 count lichen from Tabby Cat, which is the called for. It is a dusty grayish green, and I think that's showing pretty true right there. And I'm using the called for 103s for this one. 103s and 46 count is my favorite combination. I also really like Roxy Floss Co. cottons on 40 count. So if I had, you know, desert island stitches, that's what I would go with. I have stitched a lot on 56 count. And so if you've been around here for a while, you've seen a lot of my finishes on 56 count. I like 56 count, but anything that has over 1 stitching, anything that has a lot of over 1 stitching, and this has a whole verse over 1, and then a dedication here over 1, I don't want to do that on 56. It's not fun. It's doable, it's possible, but it's not fun. So 46 is the way to go for me for that stuff. All right, that's it for actual physical stitching to show you. Let's go ahead and get into market haul, because that's what I have next on my notes here. I ordered all of my market choices from my friend Greta, who owns Stitchwork Design Co. in the Birmingham, Alabama area. I got to visit Greta's shop back in, I think it was September. Ryan had a gig down in Alabama. I had been there once before with him to go to Barber Motorsports Park. And I was like, yeah, I'll go again. That's fine. And then my friend Jem, Stitch and Jem, I've mentioned her a couple times already. You will get tired of hearing her name. But she knew that this shop had opened up down there somehow. So she recommended it, and I popped in, got to meet Greta, made a couple purchases. So then when it came to market time, I knew that I wanted to place my order with Greta, but she made it so easy because she has an online cart system, and she was putting all of the market pre-order options on her website. Hundreds of items, hundreds of charts available for pre-order, so she made it super easy. I did everything in one order, but she does combine orders and then refund shipping overages. So if you're one of those who places multiple market orders, she will accommodate. So I will link her shop below, but I just want to show you, I'm not necessarily going to show you anything in any particular order. I just wanted to pull out my absolute favorite one and show that to you last. So I'm going to show you, let's go with this one first. This is Queenstown Sampler Designs, Ruth Ann Blackman, 1842. Very simple. I bought this one because I thought, well, I just liked it. It was nice and simple. I liked it and I wanted it. And I have this vision of putting together a black sampler wall. I've got M. Satterthwaite by Shakespeare's Peddler going, and Kathleen Littleton of Cross Stitch Antiques provided attendees of an upcoming retreat with a PDF of a black sampler that is a very simple border like this, and then like this massive over 1 verse. I was so excited about it. I need to pick fabric and decide what thread I want to use. But I imagine that one, I imagine this one, M. Satterthwaite, a few others. Oh, the Zodiac sampler from Just Stitching Along. I have that chart. I haven't started it. And this one, oddly enough, this one I feel is one that I could possibly change the name on and put my own name. If you've been around here a while, you know that I will stitch a sampler as charted, including the original stitcher's name, and only add a very small, sometimes almost invisible signature with just an initial and the last 2 digits of the year in which I finished it. But this one, I feel I could put my name on it. For whatever reason, let's see, it says, when I shall have finished my days, my visage no more you shall see. Oh, may this sampler renew a lasting memorial of me. And it says, Ruth Ann Blackman, aged 11 years, Florence, Ohio, 1842. I like the dedication. I like that verse. I feel like I could put my name on this. I could take credit for Ruth's work. But as Jem says, you know, I'm stitching it. It's my sampler. I'm putting my name on it, which I don't. And there are different camps. There are different views on that. There's no right or wrong. You do what you want to do. Now, I know that I have Elizabeth Grice, but I bought this anyway because I wanted it. I wanted it. Fancy Basket, A Fancy Basket, Anne Kemp, 1815 by Shakespeare's Peddler. You'll see the similarities between this and Elizabeth Grice. Let me pull that right here. Look at that. The border's different, but we have one central basket. We have 2 berry bowls. Similar birds, it's just they're placed differently on the samplers. Really beautiful, really beautiful. This one is stitched with overdyed cottons. I want to do a conversion. I guess in the future, probably the not too distant future, the attic will probably offer a silk conversion, or I could make my own. I'm sure I could handle this. It's not even a dozen colors. Really pretty. I like that one, so had to get it. Okay. Caught by Roxy Floss. These are the called for colors for Jane Wood. And they were sitting there, and I don't think I showed them to you. Okay, this from Cross Stitch Antiques. This is Little Alice. Kathleen released a few larger samplers. She released 13 charts for market, and a few of the samplers that she released I really wanted. But I had to tell myself, I had to ask myself, are you really going to get to that anytime soon? No. So I decided to get this one. This is called Little Alice, and it's a design that Kathleen came up with based on a larger antique. And she has charted this, and this is available. That is Alice Clark, 1844. I Had a Father, Kind and True. So if you are interested in a big, beautiful sampler, you can look that up. But I thought I would just get this, stitch this up, and I could do this in a couple days. Yay! And I could use Kathleen's suggested colors, or I could pick my own. Okay, this one is big, and I did not need this. But it's so weird, and I like it. It's so weird. Argyle Deer by Needlework Press. Stitch count on this, which I should have told you the stitch count of the other one. Stitch count on this is 296 by 294. So yeah, it's kind of big. And that's a lot of fill-in with that deer. We'll see if that gets started anytime soon. Okay, stitch count on this is 89 by 85. Yeah, that's a nice little size. And Ruth Ann here is 236 by 228. I'm curious to see how Anne Kemp compares. This is 159 by 195. Elizabeth Grice from Fox and Rabbit is 207 by 231. So Elizabeth Grice is more square and covers more area. So if you're looking for the smaller of the two, it would be the one by Shakespeare's Peddler. But I will say of the two, this one is the one I like better. I like the color palette better. The border, I like the border better. Okay, so I gave you the stitch counts for all those. Argyle Deer, It's Weird and Wonderful. Go get it. And then yes, of course, I had to buy 2 new animal crackers. Stacy released 4 animal crackers. She released this one, which is Abigail the goat. She released Olive, which is this adorable little goose. She also released Sugar the skunk, which I showed you my finish earlier. And then she released Pip, which is a hedgehog that I thought looked weird. So I know so many of you were really excited about it, but I saw it and I was like, I don't know, that's not for me. Which is good because then I didn't spend the $12 on it. But I was really excited about Olive. This is one that was teased days before Stacy actually showed us what she was releasing. And we were all going nuts. So cute. Little Olive here, the goose, she's holding an embroidery hoop, which I think is cute, and I will incorporate that. I'd also like to stitch her little gosling there. But Abigail here, she's holding some fireworks. I'm not going to stitch that, and I'll probably change up the colors here. I don't need this to look particularly patriotic, or, you know, don't need it to look seasonal. I'll just change up her dress and apron to suit my tastes. And the drum there, you see it's a 1776 and 2026. So 2-sided drum. And Stacy's animal crackers, you know, you'll get the chart from the animal cracker, and then you'll also get a chart for an additional accessory. In this one, in this case, you get the goose, the gosling, and this little pillow chart. I probably won't stitch that pillow. I won't stitch that pillow. Who am I kidding? But I'll stitch the 2 geese. So cute. I can see stitching 1 goose in this reddish pink dress, and then stitching another goose, but flipping it and stitching it in like a blue dress or a yellow dress or a green dress. So cute. They're just so cute. All right. My favorite market release is a designer that I have never stitched before. My Sister Samplers. This is Margaret Allardyce. Stitch count is 95 by 251. And called for fabric is Sewing Box Dark by Mason Linen, which I have. Flosses used are Gloriana silks and NPI silks. It calls for 4 Glorianas and 6 NPIs. So I am going to kit this up eventually, not right now, not today, but hopefully next month. I'll kit this up, and this will be a great way for me to test if NPIs are for me. If I hate NPIs, which I don't really see that happening, then it's a small enough piece, I'll get through it, and then when I'm done, I never have to use NPIs again. But if I like the experience using NPIs, then I know going forward, kitting up a Hawk Run Hollow in NPIs is something that I can look forward to, something that I know that I will enjoy. But I just love this. Scottish sampler, funky motifs. Look at the little rabbits. It's so cute. So cute. Rabbits, carnations, eyelets, sawtooth border in satin, and then the rest I think is cross stitch over 2. All cross stitches are stitched using 1 strand of silk over 2 linen threads. All specialty stitches are stitched using a single strand of silk where indicated in the chart. But it doesn't actually say what those specialty stitches are. But I can see in the picture, yeah, you've got cross stitch over 1, cross stitch over 2, eyelets, and satin stitch. I love it. I love this so much. So my Sister Samplers. So I will link Greta's shop below, Stitchwork Design Co. And then if I have room, because you know, in the description box, which if you have any questions, please check the description box below. The description box will only let you link so many things, only let you use so many characters, but I should be able to link all of these products. So I am very happy with my market haul. Happy that I got several things that I'm excited about. There were other charts, as I say, that I would like to have, but they're going to be there. They're going to be there for me to get in the future if I so desire. But then of course market happened and people were posting photos and videos, and I was like, wait a minute, what's that right there? And I was like, who do I know at market who will do this for me? Who will go on this errand for me? And I was like, Rika will do it. So I sent a message to Rika of House of Stitch and Stash. I probably could have reached out to Greta, and there were probably a couple other people I could have reached out to, but for some reason I was like, I'll ask Rika, because she'll either tell me, no, I'm too busy, leave me alone. And I'll be like, great, because I don't need to spend the money. Or she'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. And it was the latter. She was so excited. And I'll tell you, I bought linen. And she went to the linen room that I requested, and she showed me so many pictures. And she's like, well, what about this? And what about this? Well, they only have 36 or 46. And I said 40. Anyways, this whole back and forth thing. And it was absolutely unnecessary, but it was fun. And I hope I get those pieces of linen sometime soon. As I say, they're in Indianapolis. They're here. They're just not here. But exciting market haul. I hope that you guys have received your market orders as well, or that they are at least on their way. Another thing that I ordered recently, not markets, but why? I have liked this for a long time, but he's so big. He's 185 by 54, but you know, after stitching that fat skunk, nothing scares me. And I saw Christy Crosshatch Quilt's finish of this, and it's so cute. It's big, but it's really cute. So I just have to decide what color or colors I want his sweater to be, and if I want him to be a gray or brown bunny, and I can get that up. But that's fun. All right. That is all the stuff that I have to share with you today, everything I have to show. So I just want to leave you with my YouTube recommendations, people that I have been watching, give you a little bit of life, and some future plans, things that you can look forward to seeing on this channel. So first, I've been watching Jem, of course, Stitch and Jem. I watch all of her videos. She and I have a lot of projects in common. We have Sal's going, and similar tastes and interests, and we're just friends. So you're going to hear me mention her quite a bit on my channel. And if you're not watching her, you should definitely check her out. As I say, I will link all of these YouTubers below so that you can easily find them. But Jem also had an appearance on Wheel of Fortune recently. So if you did not catch that, please go onto Hulu and find that. Her air date was March 11th of this year, so you should be able to find the episode that way. But it was fun. It's only 20 minutes, and she's got this great back and forth with Ryan Seacrest, which is not a thing I thought I would ever say. But it was really fun to watch. She was so excited to be there, and as excited as we get about cross-stitching, she got that excited and more about Wheel of Fortune, because she loves game shows, she loves Wheel of Fortune, and she got to mention cross-stitching on Wheel of Fortune. So it was really great. Also upcoming on Jem's channel, she will be talking about Market Mania, which is a kind of a sale, really a way to encourage people to start their most recent market purchases, of course, but also to look back at past market purchases and maybe pull out things that we have forgotten or neglected and breathe new life into them. So basically, within the month of May, there are a lot of people who do some form of mania. It might be just stitching as many things as you can, starting a bunch of new projects, but for Jem and for others who are participating in Market Mania with her, the idea is to start market purchases. So for me, this year, I plan to kit up and start Margaret Allardyce and probably two or more other things in the month of May to join her for that. So if you have any questions about Market Mania, I would direct them to Jem, but really just keep an eye on her channel and she'll give you all the info that you need. Also, Tara Sullivan of Sully Stitches has been mentioning it as well and is going to participate too. Just this morning, I watched Sam of Slow Snail Stitching. I really enjoy Sam's videos. We have no projects in common, but she's a pleasure to listen to, and I am really excited when a new video from her pops up. So I would check her out and give her a follow. Also, Jules Darling, she is one of my favorite Flosstubers, and I hope that she continues to put out regular videos. She and I have a lot of projects in common. She and I seem to have similar taste in that we like samplers, we like big samplers, we like small samplers, we like samplers. And we have attended one retreat together. We didn't go together, but we met there. We got quality time together. It was really fun to get to know her. And she is going to be attending an event in October in Canada that I am also attending, and I'm so excited. So I'm happy I'm going to get to see her. I will link her channel below. I think I mentioned when I showed Mary Wigglesworth that she showed her framed Mary Wigglesworth, and it's just gorgeous. So if you want some sampler inspiration and eye candy, I would check out Julie's channel. And then I hope I mentioned Ellen Reed of Maximum Cross Stitch. She recently put out a video after quite a long hiatus, so I will link Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour YouTube channel below so you can be sure and watch that and find out who her wife of the week is. It's me. Ellen. And the last Flosstuber that I have to recommend today is Laurent of Les Trois Mousquetaires. I have mentioned Laurent before, but it has been quite a while, so I wanted to give him another shout out because I have been watching his videos, even if I don't talk about him. And I really should be mentioning him because even if you don't speak French, I would still give him a try. He has a lovely voice. He's nice to listen to, so even if you don't know what he's saying, it's nice. It's nice to have on. And you can see and appreciate the projects that he's working on. And he does speak English, so if you want to leave him a comment in English, you can do that. And also we have Google Translate, which is a wonderful thing. And I thought talking about Laurent would allow me to nicely segue into sharing with you something that I have been doing outside of cross stitch. I know a lot of Flosstubers share book recommendations, shows that they've been watching, just like general life updates, but I thought what I would be able to share with you guys is that I have realized in the last couple months, like I've always known this, but really hit me in the last couple months that if I don't use my French, I'm going to lose my French. I studied French starting in 8th grade and then through high school and college. But once I got out of college, I didn't really have an opportunity to use it, to practice it. I wasn't in an area and still am not in an area where there is like a French speaking community. It's not a thing. So I need to, on my own, do things that allow me to practice French. And so that when I achieve my dream of moving to France and, spending my later years there, then I'll be able to communicate with the locals without getting too many eye rolls. So on a daily basis, over the last couple months, I have been keeping up with this. Over the last couple months, I have been doing something in French every day. And this all started with Jodie Foster. And I'll tell you the story. If you want to tap out, you can leave me here. I've got no other cross stitching to show you. But a couple months ago, Instagram suggested this interview with Jodie Foster, and I love Jodie Foster. I love her. And she was talking to Seth Meyers about how she came to learn French. Her mom went on this trip, and her mom, coming back from that trip, decided, you know what? You're going to go to a French school. You're going to learn French. We're going to move to Europe. You're going to become a European actor and all that stuff. And it kind of happened, right? And Jodie does speak French fluently, and she's brilliant. She's brilliant. So I watched that video all the way through, and I shared it on Instagram. And because I did that, Instagram was like, oh, you really like Jodie Foster. You really like Jodie Foster talking about French. You really like Jodie Foster talking in French. And so I would get more videos of Jodie Foster's interviews, and then eventually it was like her speaking in French. And I would always stop to listen to those. And it didn't take long before Instagram was just showing me other videos in French. And that's really when I realized that I spend way more time on Instagram than I need to. And I should be using it as a tool to develop this language in my head. I should be using it in that way. And because I watched however many videos it was in French, and continued to do that, and continued to interact with other posts in French, now a lot of my feed is in French. I was telling Ryan the other day, though, that now I'm getting memes in French, which is difficult because I don't know slang. Like, I know textbook French, and I can pick up other things through context, but I don't know slang. So there are always things that I have to Google and I have to look up. And there's one thing, though, that I was really working on the other day, and then I figured it out, and it was a dirty word, but I figured it out. I figured it out. So Instagram has kind of decided that I need to see some things in French. I need to see posts in French, but also I am doing things in French. I am reading in French. I am listening to music in French. And I am even watching stand-up comedy in French, which is awesome. That is not something I ever thought I could do. So one of the first things after the Jodie Foster era that Instagram suggested was a music video from this woman, Suzanne. And believe me when I tell you, I am in love with her. I love her so much. I love her so much. She is a wonderful human. I have watched interviews with this woman, Suzanne, talking about her music and her dancing career, like ballet dancing as a child and moving up through that, and then how she came to become a songwriter and singer, but then also what she is doing for women's rights in France and what she is doing to address inequalities and violence and, you know, these bigger issues that we have and we're all dealing with and we're facing or ignoring or whatever. She is using her platform to talk about these things, and it's really wonderful. So while I love her music, I love her music, I also love that I can happily and guilt-free support her because she is also doing these other things in the humanitarian world. So Suzanne, I will link her YouTube channel below. You can buy her albums on iTunes like I have. She's wonderful. She's fun. Can I tell you again how much I love her? I love her. Oh. And then also suggested by Instagram, as I said, I've been listening to stand-up comedy. Instagram suggested this comic, Sebastian Marx, who is actually American, who has moved to France and is doing stand-up comedy in French in France. His stand-up comedy, his French accent is very good. His French is perfect, is parfait. But his accent is like you listen to him and he's so fluid and his delivery is so good and so natural, but there's still like a tiny little bit of New Yorker left in him. So he is, for me, relatively easy to understand. I watch his videos in the living room, and Ryan's, you know, he might be in the bedroom or something and he's just listening to me cackle. And he's like, can you really understand all of this? And I was like, no, of course I don't understand all of it, but I understand enough to get the punchline, which is the important part. So Sebastian Marx, I will link him below as well. Again, this is not going to be any use to you if you don't understand French, but some of Sebastian's videos are actually subtitled in French and subtitled in English. So it was really good for me. It's really good for me because the problem that I have, and if you are trying to become bilingual, maybe you have experienced this as well. I will watch a film in French and we'll have to have the subtitles on for Ryan. But what happens is I end up reading the English subtitles. And so I'm constantly going back and forth between hearing French and reading English, which is not good. It's not good. I'm constantly having to go back and forth. And ultimately, I just end up reading the English subtitles. And so to watch videos of a stand-up comic performing in French with subtitles in French, then I'm not switching languages. I'm just consuming everything in French. It's wonderful. But I really like, I've only watched probably a couple hours of his material, and some of it's the same. Like I'll watch one 8-minute video and it'll have some of the same material as another 12-minute video or something like that. But his delivery and his content is, I think, really clever. He reminds me a lot of Eddie Izzard. Love Eddie Izzard. I love Eddie Izzard. Ryan and I got to see Eddie stand up here in Indianapolis a couple years ago. Gosh, maybe that was longer. I don't remember when Eddie came. But then we also got to go to see Eddie's one-person performance of Hamlet in New York, and it was amazing. And it was when the show was just getting started. And so we were in this tiny little theater in Greenwich Village and we were right on the aisle. And so when Eddie came down during the performance, I could see the sweat and it was amazing. It was amazing. So Sebastian Mark's delivery and his little, his fake smoking that he does really reminds me of some things that Eddie has done. And also Eddie performs stand-up in English and French and Spanish and German. Amazing. So if you got through all this jibber jabber that I just spat at you, if there is some skill that you have that you want to develop, that you want to foster, something about yourself that you want to improve, just do a little bit every day. I'm not sitting down to a French textbook and studying and writing for hours. I am consuming little bits here and there. And, as I look through Instagram, I see comics in French and I get news articles now in French, and occasionally I will get videos in French. And then I've got my regular stuff, my regular feeds, my shoes and bags ads and my posts from friends and things like that, and other cross-stitch content. But if there's something that you want to do, something that you want to add to your skill set or add to your life, just try to incorporate it just a little ways every day. And I say it really makes a difference, because I know that just over the last couple months, I feel like my comprehension has come back and my vocabulary has improved. Like, I know that I have learned, and it probably doesn't sound like much, but I have probably learned 12 new words in the last month, which is great. And some of them I will never use. I will hopefully never need to use the word handcuffs, but I know that is minute. So there you go. Okay, so I will leave you with that. Is there anything else I have to tell you? Oh, my plans. March's assignment on Maria Wales Newson. Maybe kit up a couple things from the bread box. This I wrote this morning. Things may have changed since this morning. And then I told you about Market Mania. Okay, that's it. That's all I've got. So if you managed to get through that rambling, thank you. Thank you. This was a trial today. I was trying to get myself together today and it wasn't working very well. So I hope this was an okay video. I hope you enjoyed what I had to show you, and look forward to the satin stitch video that I will have out next Saturday. That will be Saturday the 21st. Those, Flosstube extras, I am very particular and try to have them out Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern so that you can expect them. And then my Flosstube episodes just kind of pop up whenever I get myself together. All right. But if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. You can find me on Instagram at @StitchStitchBead. You can also email me. I will leave my email in the drop-down box below. And again, any questions that you may have about products shown here in this video you should be able to find in that drop-down box. But until next time, a bientôt, and happy stitching.